Hello, hello, hello there, my crafty beds. It's your crafty bed Peggy, and welcome to Stormy's Imagination Station. Guys, I'm starting on the snippet roll. Now, some of you that are hand sewing, like I'm doing, you'll go ahead and glue down the back part of your snippet roll. I'm using this crocheted piece right here, and I've just simply centered this and glued it down with good old fabric tack. Now, whenever I get ready to hand sew this, guys, all I'm going to do is stick my hand down inside the pocket and just do a stitch like this all the way around it, maybe once or twice, and then down the middle, okay? And then I'm also, I went ahead and loosely folded this up, put it where it's going to go at, loosely folded this up right here, and attached my back closure. And guys, all this is just one of those little, this has got fishing twine down inside of it, and it looks like one of them stretchy ones, but I don't recommend those stretchies. And I just put a bead over the top of it and sewed it down real good, guys. I'm using 10-pound fishing twine, 10-pound test. This is really good, and it will hold all of our heaviness. And I've just folded this lightly, like I said, and put this where this is basically going to go whenever we get some of this bulk in here, okay? So I've also taken some doily. Now, some of y'all might recognize this. This is a little stiffer doily, and this is round, and all I've done is cut the outside trim off of this. And what I'm going to do is put this down here like this. And I'm going to fabric tack this down, and then I'm going to come back and sew this. You guys can do this with the sewing machine before you start on this. You can go ahead and glue these outside pieces down, because this is going in a book, guys. We don't have no rules. We can make this nice and thick. And whenever mine's all folded up and stuff, you'll be able to see some of this trim, and it fits the book. So it's going to be perfect that way. I've also added another piece of a doily back here that I've cut up. This is like a table runner. I went ahead and decorated the edges with that and fabric tacked that down. I'm also going to hand sew that. So if you don't have like the doilies, whatever, if you've got some lace trims or something that you'd like to see over your outer edge of your snippet roll, you can go ahead and sew those down now. Cut those to fit, and just run you a couple of stitches down through there to give that a little extra stability. But that's what I've done so far, guys, is I have found my center. Like I said, go ahead and loosely roll up your snippet roll to where you think it's going to be closed at, and attach your closure right here. If you're going to use a ribbon tie, just go ahead and sew down a piece of your ribbon here, and then as we get further along, we'll glue the other piece across from it for the tying, okay? But go ahead and get yourself stabilized down. I do recommend going over this with a couple of stitches, like I said, to give this some stability. And then also cut your cover for your back piece. Now all we got to do is pop a hole in it for here. I've just got a piece of satin that I'm going to run across the front of this here as we get going a little bit. I'm going to leave this off right now because I do have some buttons and different things I'd like to give a little stitch to in the snippet roll, and I don't want it poking through the back. So we'll cover that up at the end, put a little trim around there, and then maybe just some plain appliques that don't have any beadwork on them, you know, something just plain. We'll cover the back of it because I do want to give the back a little bit of cover. Look at that pretty piece back here as well, since this is going in a book. So go ahead and get started on that. Find your other piece. This is mine for the closure. It's just a pearl earring that I've taken the top off of, and I'm running another bead down it, and I'm going to sew this across to close this whenever it's done. If you want to make you a couple of these and put them back, all this is a piece of muslin fabric. You can use anything that you've got right here, but I like this because you can fray the edges. And you can stamp a sentiment or a face or something on here. I've got one of these, I've got a few of these little embroidered roses here that I've gotten online. Well, here, this is what they look like. that you can decorate it up with. You've got pieces of applique that you could put on there, little pieces of lace, and make you a couple of sentiments. All I did is put a little tiny doily on the back of it there, and you'll have you some little sentiments and little faces, whatever you would like to use in your snippet roll. And then we'll be right back. I'll just keep cutting in and out for you. Okay, guys, now then we've got that done, and this is what I've done with my surrounding edge in here with that doily, and I've just run a tack stitch all the way around it on top of the fabric tack. Did the same thing on the back. Now what I'm going to do, guys, is just layer up my background, and all that's going to be is just different little snips and snaps here and there, little pieces of lace here and there, just to make a base, okay? And then we're going to glue that down. Now you can add different textures and fabrics now, guys, different kinds of little threads and stuff, just like a little bit here, you could put a little bit here. You can use pieces of muslin fabric like this. You can use pieces of gauze, various different kinds of trims, like I said, hairy trims, different things like that. I'm just going to use like plain laces that really ain't got much on them right now, just so I get a nice base covering the entire thing, but we want it of different textures and stuff. So I'm going to leave you guys to yours. When I'm done gluing mine down, I am going to run another regular sewed stitch. You know, I'm going to go down and up like a regular hand sew, okay? And then on the back, this is what my back looks like now. If you wanted to run a little bit more trim around these edges right here, go ahead and do that now too. And then go ahead and glue that down, okay? I'm not going to keep you guys while I try to fiddle and see what little pieces, but we just want to make a nice base, okay? And just cover the entire thing with our base, and then we're going to come back and have fun with our jewels and our flowers and our bling. Like oh my gosh. This is just several snips, guys, of some of my lace pieces, a couple of little shiny pieces on there, just enough to create a nice back. And I've got several layers on here. I put some of my pretty edged stuff along the edges here, different ones. And you can just kind of play around with what you have and go according to your theme of whatever your surround page is like. So now, guys, like I said, all I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use one thread, well, of my needle, of the 10-pound test. I'm going to knot one end and leave a little bit hanging and just do a regular sew around here, and then maybe right up the middle here, just to give it a little bit more extra stability. I have not put the back on as of yet, guys. The back still looks like this. So all I'm going to do, like I said, is do a couple of rolls of normal sewing, not the tack, the long tack, but regular sewing across here. Those of you that have the sewing machine might want to do this step first, okay? You want to watch this first and see, and then possibly go ahead and adhere yours. I would put my hand inside the pocket and sew like I did on this piece, though. Unless you do all of this before you start the book. I'm just giving you guys some ideas. You can, those of you with the sewing machine can most definitely get this on here before you even start decorating this. But as hand sewers, that's what I'm going to do next, okay? And then we're going to play around with some of our prettier pieces. Doilies, it's actually got some beads in here and some beautiful sequins and stuff like that that you might want to use, is what we're going to do next. If you've got some old-timey safety pins, you might want to get some of those, some head pins, eye pins, some of your pretty beads if you want to add a dangle, charms. Just use what you have and see what you've got. You can even make your own little charms with a piece of twine. You can string up some beads and put your little charm on the bottom. Just a little one, just going by your size of your book, and put those aside because we're going to start adding our pretty pieces next. Alright, guys, that's all sewn and stuff, and this is what I have come up with. Now, guys, keep in mind that we are going to be folding it, so we do want to keep it quite flat if we can. But see, I've just simply used some eyelash trims and pulls from burlap sides that I had in there just different little snippets of lace, a couple little iridescent pieces that are like nylon, mixed in just a little bit of pink to reflect on this, but not go crazy. But I think that turned out good. I even found a little fabric tassel there to hang down. So if you're following along, you should have something close to that with what you have. But like I said, now we do want to keep this as flat as we can, but we can make this as beautiful as we want. So guys, now I've made up 2 more of these, and again, these are simply just muslin fabric that I've stamped the word cherish and live. I use some of these little embroidered flowers right here. I just love these little things. And these are just some sequin snips from off of a dress or a shirt or something. Glued down a little pearl here and a couple of little pulls. And again, just a little crochet on the back. And I've done that for both of them. And you can make up a couple of these quite quick. And these are just glued with fabric tack. And I'm probably going to put one here and one here, and kind of just start seeing what I want to do with this. I really think I want to use this end piece on here, coming out of this like a shoot. And then I have this piece right here that I really like, that's of a wedding dress. Just something that I've snipped off that I really like as the head up here. And guys, I'm not going to go too crazy with this. I'm just going to place various things here and there and look at them. And if you're using buttons, right now's the time to get these out. I've got some of these pretty buttons here, and just kind of go around and get an idea of where you might want to put these. Maybe a piece of a doily with the bling inside. Guys, this is another gorgeous piece that I got off the front of a shoe. I just cleaned the shoes with warm soapy water, take the blings off and hit them with some alcohol on the back. And I want you to look at that. I gave $1 for a pair of these shoes. And I may use this piece right here somewhere. You know, I've got like these little, you know, now's the time to just do this. But I wouldn't go great big and tall and bulky and put a lot of things, okay? I'm going to want to use one of the vintage safety pins, a couple of those. And I had a package of those. They're those Tim Holtz safety pins. They're just little safety pins. Get you some of them and a couple of little beads. And thread one of them through one of these. And then we'll do a little hang down from those. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm getting together now. Kind of get your little theme there. If you've made a couple of these words, figure out where you want to put them. And if these are buttons that you have, you're going to want to sew these down. Okay? So we're going to just kind of mess with our design here and see what we've got. That's a pretty button, isn't it? And just whatever you find, guys. I've just brought out some various little pieces. I copy stained this. I got this little piece from a friend, and I've just been cutting little snips off. Things like this. If you have little things like this, you could cut one off here and there. Now's the time to look at these if these are something that you're wanting to sew down. Okay, so just mess with what you've got, and I'm going to mess with what I've got. And we'll take a short pause. Just a quick retraction real quick, you guys. The closure that I had on the back, I really am not liking once I get this in here. So what I've decided to do is fabric tack down and then sewed into this applique on this other side here, right in the groove. And then added the other side of the ribbon to the back. I just folded it up like it's going to set in the book. And determine where I want the ribbon at, okay? I've got the back on here sewed on already, and then this piece right here in the middle. So that should be it for the sewing on this. Now's the time that once you see it rolled up in here, if you want to let some of it retract off of your surround page, you can do that on the back of it. But then I'm going to go ahead with the little satin piece that I had across here. All I'm going to do is cut a little tiny hole to pull my ribbon through as I lay it down across the back. If you want a little bit more pizzazz around the edges, like I said. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then I'll decorate the back of it with you guys, okay? So, but I just wanted to give you that quick little bust out right there, because it wasn't what I was wanting. So I went ahead and went with ribbon instead. This is just a light little nylon chiffon-y like ribbon here that I put on this one, and I like how that is. So that's what I'm doing next, and then we'll go ahead and put the back on here once you get all of your trim pieces done here, and then we'll start decorating the back. Okay, guys, we are back, and I have made a big adjustment to the book. I have taken actually 2 of the pages out. I cut one of the other ones on the side here out because it is getting really thick. I'm going to just make this last page with lace surrounds and thin appliques around her, and the I Love You page, this is going to be the biggest piece I put in it, is this piece of applique right here, because it really is getting too thick. I would highly recommend just a 4-page book for this once we've started doing this. But guys, this is what I did to the back of it. I added some appliques down here on the bottom and finished this off with the top trim to this right here, so that when this folds up, it'll fold quite flat, which is actually like this, and it will tie into the book like this. And I think that is enough. I just did the elegance to cover up this ribbon trim right here, and put a little applique on the end right there, and that'll fold in there quite flat. And this is what I ended up doing to the back. Now the front, guys, the actual snippet roll itself turned out like this. Is that not just absolutely gorgeous, guys? I appliqued the front right here. I added various little applique flowers and stuff throughout. I matched this end right here with another little applique. The live that I did with the muslin and stuff I told you all about, I actually sewed a couple of beads and buttons on here. I made this out of the Tim Holtz little safety pin right here, and just put a little piece of muslin, one of these embroidered flowers, and put a little bead dangle on the edge right here. I used one of these chiffon flowers. I went around it with iridescent see-through material. Another iridescent button here, the chiffon flower. I actually put a key pin up here. This is a little key and it's a pin. This is a piece of an earring with little pearl dangles. I also added another piece of this lace trim with one of them flowers on it. This is an applique with a beautiful bling inside, and I glued down a piece of beautiful bling up here on this top. On this one, this is another Tim Holtz safety pin with a piece of muslin, the little embroidered flowers, a piece of bling, and then I made this charm to hang off of a piece of chain, and I put a wing on here, the hand symbol for the palm reader. The little bird is actually carrying a seeing eye emblem, and then I have the crystal ball on the bottom hanging. More various appliques. This is an applique I made that says cherish here. And this is what I did with this. I kind of kept it flat, but I think it's also very beautiful. And I think that turned out just gorgeous. You can see the various snips of lace trims and stuff I used in the back of it. And that's how that turned out, guys. I love it, don't you? I think that really turned out very beautiful. And again, this will just fold right up in here and fit as flat as possible. We have our elegance and our beautiful appliques. And then this just simply ties like this. And like I said, the next 2 pages, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what I end up with. I'm not going to take you through that one because this whole video is getting really long. But that's what I'm doing on the back. I am going to add a another ribbon tie right here before I decorate this page here. And then all we're going to do to close the book, guys, is just wrap that around and make a little tie here on the front. But I really think she's thick enough, don't you? I think she's a beautiful keepsake book for us. And If I was to do these to put in a store or whatever, I think I'm going to go to just 4 pages because it is just too thick. Because I always want to do my flower, my beautiful flower page. And then we have our other decorated pages and then the beautiful snippet rolls. So, and I still want to do an I love you page on this back. So like I said, I'm going to keep this as thin as I possibly can just to decorate her up a little bit. And then do the I love you page here with the ribbon wrap around the whole book tie closure. So, and I'll show you what I come up with for that. But this is the snippet roll and how it turned out. And I think this whole Gypsy wedding page turned out just beautiful, don't you? And until the next one, guys, be crafty, be cool. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you, okay? Bye-bye.